All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Coleman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. And if you haven't heard about it yet, the book of the year, it's the Bible. You haven't got it yet, it's the Power of Organic Fitness. It is the business. Thanks everybody so far who's after buying it. And if you haven't bought it, it's available on Amazon. It's also on the top of my tree link, which is literally on my Instagram and on my TikTok. So all you have to do is really go to the top of my page, says tree link. In there, you can get your hands on it. And after that, we are going to discuss a couple of different things on nutrition. Because the whole idea of one of the reasons why I wrote this book is to increase your energy levels, to be a healthier and a happier individual. And foods have a direct result on exactly that. Most people are not eating enough of the likes of whole foods. They're not eating enough complete proteins. They're not eating enough healthy fats, and they're overeating on carbohydrates, but not complex carbohydrates. Because even carbohydrates, vegetables are a carbohydrate, just to touch on that point. And I used to be, for a period of time, afraid to eat parsnips and carrots because I was told by some jackass on social media that be worried about the carbs found in vegetables. What the hell were we actually doing listening to that man? I know a hell of a lot more now. And I'm trying to pass on. That's exactly why I wrote this goddamn book, to break down the nutrition myths and get people on the best type of foods for their overall diet. And just supposed to expand on what's actually happening right here, right now. I am on a TikTok live because it went very well last week, and I'm going to incorporate it in again. So if people are and would like a shout out on the likes of the TikTok here right now, so we have Ash on there on a regular, all the way from Michigan. We have Damo from Arkeen. Say hi to my son. He's not here, but in hospital in Oxford after breaking his arm. Well, Damo, major shout out, and you can literally get him to check out the likes of this YouTube and or podcast available on Stitcher and on Spotify, and he will be most certainly getting a shout out for me. And yes, we will go on with the likes of touching on. My preference would be for people to add in more, I suppose, vegetables to their diet. You don't have to be a vegan, you don't have to be a vegetarian, but if you do, I suppose, put yourself in that category, you have to eat more complete proteins. That is either, I suppose, going to combine incomplete proteins, such as we'll take the example of rice and chickpeas. But when you do that, you most certainly have carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates, preferably in the likes of your brown rice. More, I suppose, addition to adding in a complete protein from plant-based sources is fiber. Fiber keeps you fuller for longer. It also reduces your cholesterol. Those people that are and unsure of their cholesterol, it's well worth getting, I suppose, those things checked on a regular basis, because it can also get your iron levels checked, which can have a massive effect on your energy levels. In particular, women really on a plant-based diet most certainly should check that out on a more regular occurrence, just to indicate why they might have low energy levels on any given day. So complete proteins essential. So the plant-based sources of protein would be the likes of your tofu and tempeh and hemp seeds. Those are all complete proteins. They contain all 9 essential amino acids. So that means they do and are comparable to the likes of the meat sources: chicken, fish, turkey, or eggs. They might have as high a protein sources. It just means you're able to eat a little bit more, while they have lower calorie because they don't have a lot of fats in them. One of the questions was, and we were actually talking about, it was Damo who brought up here on this TikTok live, red lead. It's typical of a meat source found commonly in Waterford, in the addition of combining it with a blah, which is a white breaded burger bun, for all those people who have no clue what a blah actually is. And it's quite significant to Waterford, the region where I am currently from, and it's something that I would have when I would go home on a regular basis. And I'm pretty sure you can get them in a 6-pack, right? And I have this photograph taken years ago. I was actually get a pack. Literally, I put a 6-pack up against my stomach and went to say, actually get a 6-pack, eat these. But I haven't done that for a period of time. So yeah, that's roasted vegetables are healthy. Yes. So the things that I do, I suppose, recommend for people who are on a plant-based diet are, if you don't consume dairy either, it would be a soya-based yogurt. And the idea that people are afraid of soya as a protein source, and it's what it does is, it's most certainly getting you to have non-dairy, which is something like, and dairy is a histamine food, which can cause issues with your sinuses, which I used to have a lot of issues with. I don't tolerate a whole lot of dairy, but there are other alternatives to, I suppose, standard cow dairy. You could go with goat, you could go with sheep, and they most certainly would I would have a preference towards people getting them local and most certainly getting them fresh. And organic is the gold standard. Why? Because organic animals, whether they chickens or whether they goats or whether they sheep or whether they cattle, are most certainly grazed on the likes of non-GMO grasses and not fed any likes of the grains that have been heavily sprayed with glyphosate. Glyphosate is a carcinogenic. All those milk sources, as well as meat sources, would definitely also have higher concentrations of omega-3. Omega-3 is an anti-inflammatory. All these things are really important to add into your diet, whatever your preference is. You're vegan or vegetarian, whether you're the standard diet, I would have definitely an indication for people and a preference towards more fiber in your diet. And where is fiber found? In all different vegetables and fruits. And the next thing, I suppose, is touching on the likes of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the body's first source of energy. You were looking for more energy, you can get it in abundance from complex carbohydrates. But why people demonize carbohydrates is the fact that we can easily overconsume them. And as a result of that, it is something that I do get people to eat slightly less of, just due to the fact that you can bump up your protein and still feel fuller for longer. You can bump up your fiber from nutrient dense, low calorie foods such as dark leafy greens in the way of kale, rainbow chard, and also most certainly the next point of which is in season salad greens. Okay, salad greens are unbelievable. They're about 90% water, and as a result of that, they're also something that can keep you from getting dehydrated. Foods come into season for a reason. So one meal of the day, I have a preference, and I would get people to most certainly add in literally dark leafy greens of any shape or form, getting them again from a country market if you don't grow any of your own, which I'm actually doing a grow your own course at this moment in time up in Kildare. If anybody's interested in that, a full day of hands-on. Oh, you get your hands mucky, and you most certainly see how to grow your own tomatoes, grow basil in a pot, and any other organic fitness food, whichever would have a preference towards. Beetroot, one of the classic ones that's mentioned in this book, and it is something that is on page 97 for those of you that do have the book. And if we can even flick towards page 97, just for the fact that I am going to talk on, like, so specifically why I love actually beetroot in this particular reason, because it can naturally improve your energy levels. It increases blood flow. It has the antioxidant anthocyanins. Anthocyanins is something that can improve your cognitive function. That means you think clearer. It also is the ability to reduce wrinkles. Who doesn't want the two of them things? All right, anthocyanins. People are not eating enough purple colored foods either. Red cabbage is another very easy one to grow, or I do love the likes of having beetroot, and it is something that you can add into your diet and gain the advantage of. The leaves are edible and the swollen stem is too. Boom, you're on a winner. I was actually on a podcast last night talking about beetroot with someone. So I'll just hit you up with the crack that's going on here in the comments over here. So we've page 97, verse 4. Welcome to the Church of Organic Fitness. This could be a thing. This could be a thing. And our Father says on page 97, the heading is actually beetroot is better than a banana. And why that is, actually has a higher potassium. Potassium is something that is very important for people who are sweating a lot, whether you live in a hot country or in the middle of summer, it's steadily roasting. Have you ever had sugar kelp? No, I haven't actually ever had sugar kelp, but kelp is something, and seaweed is something that I do recommend for not only growing your own food, like it's different 21 different micronutrients, and it also has the main advantage of improving your thyroid function because it has iodine. Iodine is something that is a micronutrient that people often are typically low in. So adding in a little bit more of seaweed to your diet is something that I do recommend, and or buying it from regenerative agriculture farms, such as the one I'm doing myself. And the vegetables that I do grow are the ones that I have in the book, just happens to be that way because I recommend what I do. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's on it. So organic fitness foods would definitely be tomatoes, it'd be kale, it'd be rainbow chard, it'd be beetroot. And the superfood, if you haven't heard about it yet, is yacon. That is most certainly going to be coming into season, coming close to Christmas. And Jerusalem artichokes. They is also known as artichokes just because they is, okay, and do cause a bit of tooting out the backside, but that just means they're working. If you haven't ever tried them, they naturally improve your mood within the hour. I can guarantee you that. If you haven't tried them, you need to. Okay, so that is something that I do get people to. My kid will be with you. So yes, those are some of the foods that I highly recommend people to add into their diet. One of the next things I discuss in the likes of this book is healthy fats, because these are the basics. Most people are not eating the basics. Okay, they're not going and getting complete proteins. They're not eating complex carbohydrates. But the last thing, people are demonizing fats. Fats do contain 9 kilocalories per gram, and healthy fats that I do recommend would be from organic dairy if you do tolerate it. If you don't tolerate it, it's something that most certainly you can get from, like I say, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil. They are my 2 favorite types of healthy fats to add to your diet. Healthy fats do contain, I said, 9 kilocalories per gram, but the idea is I would recommend people to not be afraid of those, but adding them into their diet to match their activity levels, which is something that's so important. If you're not and struggling with your weight, you really need to start figuring out, I suppose, what amount of calories you need to consume in a day. You can use an app. You can also have an indication of checking your weight on a regular basis. Is something that some people do with people I mentor or coach. But the other main thing to do is most certainly is increase your activity. Steps in sunlight. The likes of more people need to get outside. You need to remember that the likes of vitamin D is produced from sunlight without sun cream hitting your skin. Sunscreen is not something I actually wear for the main reason that it has a lot of toxins. It can have endocrine disruptors, which have can mimic chemicals and hormones in your body, which can cause your system to go completely out of whack. So I recommend people to get sunlight in the morning before it gets excessively hot, such as 37 degrees in Michigan or 30 goddamn degrees here in Ireland if you're walking or running in over a potty tunnel, but it was quite hot nonetheless. My laptop makes those sounds when I'm just only doing podcasts. Have a look what that actually says. It actually just appeared as soon as I went to look at it. It's a ghost, the ghost of the laptop, HP. So yeah, that is something that I do expand on in the book, sunlight, because it's a natural mood improver. It increases your blood flow, and getting it in and on your face in the morning is something that is able to wake the body naturally. Too many people reach for coffee before they even know the morning starts. And doing 3 of these things together would maximize the benefits of this routine. So the likes of sunlight in the morning, the next point of which will be stretching, and the third and final one will be grounding. You're doing 3 things. I love to maximize the benefits of what I do on a regular basis, and that is what I do. Those 3 things are key for optimal health. It's an organic fitness lifestyle that I recommend, not any particular one diet, because how can people, I suppose, pick one diet and stick to it for the rest of their lives? What ends up happening is they fall off the wagon, it doesn't suit them, and then they, I suppose, end up binge eating, and it's a terrible way to be, overeating, and it's typically not the likes of we binge on broccoli, we reach for chocolate, we reach for ice cream, we reach for chips, we reach for battered foods, whether let's go say red lead. We reach for battered foods, just typically unhealthy, unsaturated fats that you don't want in your diet that's been heated and reheated. So those are all points that I suppose I definitely thought on carnivore diet. Joe Rogan was on it. Great question. I'm so glad that came up there. So whether the diet be vegan, vegetarian, or the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet is something that I've tried the vegan diet, and I suppose I may have to try the carnivore diet because just to see how it is and it functions with the body. But as the studies that I have read right now, for optimal, I suppose, health, I would have a preference towards people eating more whole foods, for the fact that fiber and other different micronutrients would be beneficial towards optimal energy levels, the production of serotonin, as well as your immune system and gut health, needing fiber to be at optimal health. So whether it be Joe Rogan or Joe Blogs or Joe Brawley, that's people who are not in Ireland. He's sports commentary on the Sunday game for the GAA. But yes, just because somebody does something doesn't mean you have to do it. And that's something that you really have to realize. And I wish I picked this knowledge up when I was younger. I followed too many, I suppose, random diets, whether it's a keto diet, whether it's the low carb, whether it's the no drinking completely ever going to touch it again. You need to find, and this is the diet that works for everyone, the one that suits you, the one that includes foods that you like, and it suits, and you can get local, fresh, and organic produce. That would be my major preference for people to start doing and adding into their life. Stop picking diets before you understand food. And just reading a couple of comments here. Joe Brawley is a quiet man. Our teeth clearly shown we are carnivores. Yes, and you also have teeth for excessively chewing the likes of plants too. So that is the way we have been designed, and that is again the way I have laid out people to eat foods that suit them. More things that you do not get from meats. And again, I'm pro meats. I'm pro whole foods, which would conclude organic beef, would include organic beef, organic chicken, and most certainly then the likes of your beneficial microorganisms will benefit from no animal being fed GMO. They are not fed the likes of grain that has been heavily sprayed with the likes of glyphosate. And glyphosate is again a carcinogenic. You do not want that. It's an antibiotic, which then we are the end consumers of on a regular basis if we end up consuming poor quality foods. If food is cheap, whether it's 49 cents in Lidl, Rally, Tesco's, some Woolworths here or there or anywhere else, you're buying food. If it is, you're not supposed to gain the advantage of high nutrition in your diet. The foods you eat have a massive effect on the way you look, you feel, and how much energy levels have. If you're looking for the best you can possibly be, it starts with whole foods. And it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle what you're looking for. Going to country markets, buying from a local grower who's able to either you get it collected and or you get it delivered to you. The point of which is when you start eating more whole foods and cooking from scratch, you can literally be guaranteed that you're getting the best food into your diet. Most people are wondering why they're not healthy, and they go into shops then and 90% of the food in there isn't even real food. And the subsection of it is, we'll call it the grocery aisle section where all the fruits and vegetables are. Then there's a tiny little section after that, boxed off, labeled health food section. So when you actually stop and slow down for 1 second and say, what in the name of God is 90% of the store full of? Cereals, crisps, crackers, processed foods, protein bars, supplements, vitamins, alcohol, all things that cause inflammation in your body. When you realize that the more foods that you eat that are anti-inflammatory, that contain antioxidants, that reduce stress in your body, the better it is for whatever your fitness goal is. Your mood, your attention, your overall activity on a daily basis is massively affected by you choosing foods that benefit you. You don't go from 0 to 100. And because people will often ask me, Coleman, how am I meant to get all the foods chemical free or organic? What you want to do is slow incremental improvements, adding in one more single ingredient that you can get from a country market, adding in a little bit more of, I suppose, foods that you either grown yourself or a neighbor has or a family member. We used to do this a couple of, I suppose, generations ago. My grandfather would have grown all his own food and had ducks and geese and chickens on the grounds. My father grew a small amount, and as a result of that, I nearly lost touch myself completely with it. And there's so many other families that would have the advantage in the country of the likes of an apple tree, which can give you up to 100 apples in one growing season. And apples are an organic fitness food. Why? Because they can be sprayed up to 10 times in a growing season. I'm looking for more and more people to, I suppose, optimize their health. And when I get them on the organic fitness program, which I'm currently taking clients for at this moment in time, if you want to apply, go straight over to my website and click the contact and fill in the contact details just there. You not only, I suppose, improve your health, you don't massively have to focus in on weight loss, but it will inevitably happen. It's a holistic health is what I'm getting people to do. And as a byproduct of that, you will lose weight. You will move more. You will have increased energy levels. And when you have more energy levels, you're much more ready to exercise. When you exercise on a much more regular basis, you inevitably will lose weight. Why? Because you will be using up more calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight. That is what's called a calorie deficit. And that happens when you have a lifestyle that suits you. You incorporate in foods and exercise on a regular basis. All right, I suppose I better wrap up this podcast with touching on that book. All that information is found in this book. It is available on Amazon. Okay, it's The Power of Organic Fitness. Okay, it's my name, Coleman, Colman, and there's a J in there, and there's a power at the end. Okay, you can get it at my tree link at the top of my page. I'm so grateful for anybody that's buying it and reviewing it on Amazon. That is one of the most helpful things people have done for me. There are people I've never even met. Write me reviews on Amazon. It helps it get to top of the pops in a nutshell. And I suppose touching on the last couple of things before I finish up this podcast, it is something that I have coming up in Cork. It's the Cork Summer Show. I'll be doing book signings this Friday, this Saturday and Sunday. If you are there, I would love to see you and meet you. Come over to me, and please do come over, because it was actually at the Cork Mallow show, and there was actually a friend of mine said there's a couple people over there that are actually afraid to come over. Please come over. I don't bite that much, I swear. And it is also something coming on the week after that. It is the next of the Organic Fitness retreats. It's the Great Stuff retreat down in Skull. If you most certainly would like to come to 3 nights, 2 days, I said that backwards, didn't I? 3 days, 2 nights, all activities. You got grounding with myself. You have yoga with Kaz, Karen, Russa. You have a sea swim followed by nutritionally dense cooked foods by Cara O'Donnell, and a one-to-one session along with kayaking, a whole lot of fun, and late night gallivanting with the likes of myself and everyone else that comes to these events. It's really age brackets. We've had people from the ages of, I think, 22 up to 65, if not a little bit older. We didn't ask that individual their age at that moment in time, but just roughly that is the age bracket. So from 30s all the way up to mid 60s. You want to have a good time with like-minded people, I highly recommend that. The Grow Your Own full day practical hands-on is most certainly all guns blazing, and next one's on the 2nd of July. If you want to avail of that, most certainly check it out and send me a DM. It's also on Featherfield Farm if you would like to come to that event, coming away with 77 plants on that day. I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of these comments here before I miss any. There's any shout outs. Is there certain vegetables you should always have as fats? You should definitely always have fats with the likes of your dark leafy greens. Why? Because they increase the absorption of those fat soluble vitamins. We're eating raw unblock your lymphatic system. That is definitely a massive question. We'll have to do a separate full podcast then, but I'm going to save that question. And other than that, I think I've pretty much covered a lot of the questions in that podcast. So boys, other than that, good morning, good afternoon, congrats. There are certain antioxidants we should seek out daily. We should seek out an abundance of color. When people say you should eat the rainbow, what they actually mean is you should actually eat the likes of the 4 main antioxidants. There's the red lycopene, there's the green, the chlorophyll, there's the beta carotene in the orange and the yellow. You most certainly then have the purple anthocyanins. Those are the 4 main antioxidants. Add those to your diet, whatever you do. Best foods are eggs, grass-fed meat, fruits, animal fats, fish, and oysters. And who we got saying that? Darno. Sounds like you just read the book. Oysters are in there too, because they do contain and are helpful for, they're typically great for people who are closer to the sea. Well, it's because they do have iodine. I'm actually going to be covering the whole screen over there. Or that, lads, right? Elderflowers to make wine. All right. Stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic. Stay tuned for next week's episode.